What is up, everybody, and a welcome on into the latest installment of the Fast Five, presented as always by the fine folks over at Superbook Sports. Back from the holiday, hope everybody had a good 4th of July in the middle of the week and a weekend leading up to that as well. I'm AP in Colorado. You can follow me at Media by AP, and the man himself, you know him on social at Superbook Unit. We call him Unit. He's in Las Vegas. What's up, buddy? How was your 4th of July?
It was great, nice and relaxing. We're kind of at that part where it's like the dog days this summer. All we got is baseball, maybe a little competitive eating. So kind of just getting back on track and looking forward to more of a stronger sports season.
Yeah, this is the time when the sun is shining. The sports fans should probably go take a step outside, see the sun, step on some grass, because football is around the corner. But the show must go on. The show always goes on here over at Superbook Sports. We've got a fun show lined up for you. As Unit talked about, we'll recap the competitive eating. We'll do a little Damian Lillard conversation. We got the MLB All-Star Game coming up next week. And this is when fighting is just the best. UFC 290 coming up this weekend as well. We'll break that down, give you our opinion on a couple of the main event, the co-main event, and arguably one of the strongest favorites in betting history, right or wrong. And then stick around because I get to grill my boy about his takes on the NFL Red Zone. So I'm going to have to stick up for the people here. But we've got ourselves an action-packed show. But as always, folks, get your bets in with Superbook Sports. You can use my promo code APBETS when you sign up, and you'll get yourself a bonus of up to $250. That's promo code APBETS when you sign up with our good friends over at Superbook Sports. If you live in Colorado, Nevada, or a handful of other states around the country, Tennessee, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland, among others, be sure to use that promo code APBETS. You'll get yourself a bonus of up to $250, and away we go. All right, let's start in the NBA, where I swear you could turn on Fox Sports, ESPN, CBS Sports. Is Yahoo still a thing? I don't know. Everybody's talking about Damian Lillard. Everybody's talking about it. Where is he going to go? Who's he going to play for? Will Portland trade him? Will they not? So after, I don't know what, I feel like 4 or 5 years of continuous rumors that Damian Lillard would ask for a trade. It came out, I believe, over the weekend or late last week that he has officially requested a trade from the Portland Trail Blazers. First, your thoughts. Second, where do you think he ends up, my friend?
Yeah, you can tell it's a slow sports time because that's you turn on the TV, whatever channel it is, that's all they talk about is these NBA offseason. I mean, we still got months and months to go, and this is all they talk about. It's getting kind of old, but the Lillard situation is pretty interesting because he's been known as, the loyal guy that stuck through Portland, all the ups and downs, hasn't moved. But now he's requesting a trade, and he says he prefers going to the Heat. So I think, that's going to be the landing spot. If he's on the move, it's probably going to be the Heat. If that's what he prefers, the Heat are kind of looking for that one thing to get them over the hump. They've been into the finals, twice in the past couple of years, and weren't able to, get to the promised land. So a guy like Damian Lillard is sure to, increase their chances at being able to get to the finals again, and maybe even take down your Denver Nuggets.
We'll see. And I was speculating on Twitter, but what somebody was talking about, and I forget the exact logistics of it, but apparently you can't trade a rookie right away. Like, there needs to be some sort of a period in between when the rookie is drafted to when you could trade them. And it appears that could be a little bit of a snafu in a potential deal between Miami and Portland, because you would think that the rookie would be, I forget his name, but long hair from UCLA. He would be a part of that deal potentially, especially if it's a multi-team deal. Again, just speculation at this point in time. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm a little surprised. I guess you could say I don't know. Maybe I'm not surprised. I don't know what I am, because I understand Damian Lillard asking out. I understand Damian Lillard wanting to, contend for a championship at this point in his career. And it looks like Portland is not going to be able to do that, especially in the Western Conference. And I understand him wanting to go to Miami as kind of his preferred destination. But I don't know. It just feels like there's this weird discourse around Damian Lillard right now about like an all-time great trying to force his way out. I just don't really know what to make of the situation, but I do agree with you that Miami is probably the most likely landing spot. I think Boston could be an interesting landing spot as well. And I think I have no doubt in my mind Portland will do everything in their power to trade him to an Eastern Conference team. I would be dumbfounded if they traded him to a team that played in the West.
Yeah, they're not idiots. They don't want this deal to end up backfiring. But you mentioned the Celtics. I mean, we saw when they were able to acquire Porzingis, that had a pretty dramatic change on their odds. And Damian Lillard is several times the player that Porzingis is. What do you think that does to the future's odds?
Man, It would have to be a real adjustment because, you talk about how Porzingis moved the odds for Boston, and Porzingis is an okay player, C+ player in the league. Damian Lillard is a needle mover, especially if a deal that to bring him in would maintain and keep Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, and you're adding him into that mix. Maybe you got to get rid of Tyler Hero, draft compensation, the rookie, whatever it might be. But you're looking at a quote-unquote big three, for lack of a better phrase, with Dame Lillard, Bam Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler. I mean, you're talking about a defensive anchor and Bam Adebayo, a guy who's an absolute grinder in Jimmy Butler, and a guy that kind of matches that energy. And Damian Lillard is just an absolute gym rat and a hooper, through and through. They wouldn't be a tough team to beat just because of the talent. They'd be a tough team to beat because of their hustle and the way in which they play the game, which it would embody Heat culture. So I do think Miami would be a fun landing spot for Damian Lillard. They'd be a damn good team.
Yeah, I think that would be a spectacular fit with Butler. They do have kind of similar mindsets and that Heat culture. I think that would make the Heat very deadly. But right now they're sitting at 9-1 with all the Lillard rumors, and the Celtics are at 5-1. Do you think if like a deal were to go down, that would put the Heat past the Celtics in terms of the favorites in the East?
I think it'd be right on the money. I think they'd probably be right around the same number, maybe a slight advantage towards Miami just because they're a little bit more veteran built. Eric Spoelstra's a good coach. I think that, it would just fit the mold a little bit better, but you can't discount the experience that the Celtics team has. I know they trade away Marcus Smart, but Tatum and Brown, among others, have been there. They've got a good coach. They've got a good front office. So I think what it would do is it would narrow it to kind of a two-horse race in the Eastern Conference where it's kind of pick your poison. Odds will be right around the same. Boston or Miami, whichever way you want to go, really not a bad bet to make, but I do think it would drop them pretty significantly.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty big gap, especially if Lillard ends up going to the Heat between those two teams and the rest of the East. I mean, you got the Sixers behind at 14-1, but I just don't think that they compare, especially when you get to when the games matter in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I got to just get this off my chest real quick. And I'm not a Portland Trailblazers fan. I'm an NBA fan. I'm a sports fan, right? But to see the way that, like, some people have turned their back on either Dame or the like the nastiness that is surrounding this discourse. Like, let's all take a step back. The guy has given you every ounce that he could possibly give to the organization, and he's not winning a championship. He's never been to a championship. I don't think he's been to a conference final in his career with the Portland Trailblazers. So I don't hold anything against Damian Lillard for wanting to get out of there. Where I do find myself a little like scratching of the head is like the unanimous declaration that Damian Lillard is the best player in Portland Trailblazers franchise history. Is Damian Lillard one of the best players in Portland Trailblazers franchise history? Absolutely. Last I checked, there's two players, one that won an NBA Finals, one that won a Finals MVP, and another one that went to two NBA Finals and lost to Michael Jordan's Bulls, and I believe the Detroit Pistons one year as well. Damian Lillard is the number 3 best player in Portland Trailblazers franchise history. Bill Walton won an MVP and won an NBA Finals. Clyde Drexler went to 2 NBA Finals. Damian Lillard did not even go to an NBA Finals, let alone win an MVP. Damian Lillard is an all-time great player. All-time great. Recency bias aside, he's not the best player in franchise history.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. And I think, the people that disagree with you or that they have Lillard at the top, is definitely recency bias is a huge thing in sports. I mean, if you look at a majority of current NBA fans have never seen either of those guys even play basketball, probably haven't even seen highlights. So they're automatically going to say Damian Lillard. And I think there's a few other player comparisons that fall into that same category of recency bias just takes over, especially when you're getting your info from or your takes and opinions from Twitter. It's recency bias is a real thing, but I'm on the same page as you when it comes to the best players in Portland history.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, whichever way you slice it, man. And Drexler was incredible. You can't hate on Clyde Drexler. And it's just a matter of, I don't think a lot of these kids were alive back in the day, and like 80% of people are on social media. I wasn't alive back in the day. You weren't alive back in the day. But it's like we can't just forget about history. And so, I mean, you're talking about a guy who went to 2 finals in Clyde. Walton won an MVP, won a final. I don't know.
With injuries and missing time. He was on a terrible Portland team drafted by them, and he ended up turning that team around and battled through all those injuries. I mean, who knows what he could have done if he was able to stay on the court more.
Yeah, I mean, Drexler made the finals, I'm looking here, 3 times in his career. I believe 2 of those which were Portland. I don't know. It's just a funny conversation for me to see the way that people have turned on Damian Lillard and whatnot. But I just want to get that off my chest. Damian Lillard is an all-time great player in franchise history, but sometimes we forget about the great ones that have won in Bill Walton and Clyde Drexler.
By the way, that Bill Walton doc on ESPN Plus, 2-episode series, spectacular. You definitely got to watch it already.
Yeah, it's one of our guys, Mr. Bill Walton. But yeah, Miami Heat, the overwhelming favorite to land Damian Lillard. Excuse me. I'm not surprised by that. All right, let's move along here. Midsummer Classic. Stephen A. Smith, if you're listening, please don't ever try to talk about Major League Baseball again, because you clearly don't know what you're talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look that up on Twitter. But home run derby time. And we've got ourselves not a full list of participants, but we've got a handful here. Julio Rodriguez, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Mookie Betts, Randy Arozarena, my guy, Pete Alonso, Luis Roberts, how many pronounce this one right now? Adele Rushman? Did I say that correctly?
Adley Rushman.
Adley Rushman. Oh,
guys in Baltimore.
I haven't been paying attention to American League Baseball. I'm a National League guy. But we've got ourselves a handful of fantastic names here. Obviously, some and you know what I love about this? Young names. Obviously, Pete's been in it a few times. Mookie's in the middle of his career, but you got Vlad Jr. Everybody knows Vladimir Guerrero. J-Rod last year after the year that he had, out there in Seattle. Kid from Baltimore, and I'm sure a lot more young names that'll be coming through the pipes as well. Juan Soto won it last year, another young name. How you feeling about the home run derby? Who you got this year and why?
Yeah, actually, when I was putting together my notes for this of guys I wanted to see in it, one of the guys who was added was Luis Robert. That's who I wanted to see in it the most. I mean, the guy's been on a complete tear. He's got insane power. He's up there among the leaders in home runs. I mean, it is a guy I could see maybe after the home run derby, his swing kind of goes down the drain and he might hit a slump. But I think he's going to be super exciting in the derby. You mentioned young guys. I think we got to get some rookie action in this. What about Corbin Carroll? He would be fun to see in it. Ellie De La Cruz, yeah. He's taking the league by storm. I think he would be electric. That would kind of give these young guys a way to express themselves and get some TV time, because they got them mic'd up. It's always a real fun thing. And then you got Pete Alonso, the veteran. This is his World Series. I call him the Bryson DeChambeau of baseball. He reminds me of him. He makes this seem like it's the most important contest in the entire world, and he just reminds me of Bryson DeChambeau. So, I mean, I guess he's got to be the guy to beat. He cares the most. He's got the championship under his belt at least a couple times, I think. And then another guy I wish would be in the contest, but I've read that he never wants to do it because he doesn't want to get injured or anything, would be Jorge Soler. He's up there every year among the leaders in home runs, and I think he's even been the home run king one year. He would be a guy with a lot of pop that I think would do really well in one of these contests, but it sounds like he's got no interest.
There's a lot of athletes, like LeBron has never wanted to do the dunk contest. I can understand this more because of the way that it can kind of manipulate your swing, with kind of there's one objective. Pull the ball and hit it out of the ballpark, which is essentially the complete opposite philosophy of what you take at the plate, right? Looking at the pitch, go opposite field, up the middle, whatever it might be. But, I think the big name that everybody wants to see, who's not going to participate, obviously, Shohei Ohtani. I had the pleasure to see him hit absolute moonshots at the All-Star game a couple of years ago here at Coors Field. That was fantastic. I mean, I don't know. I like this lineup. I'm happy that J-Rad's doing it because J-Rad, I'm thinking about the Grateful Dead right now in my head. That's a Grateful Dead cover band. I'm happy that Julio Rodriguez is doing it, though, because I feel like he's one of those younger, exciting players that maybe not the general public has gotten to know. But I remember I drafted him on my fantasy baseball team last year. I kind of knew, I knew the name. But as the season progressed, it was like, oh, get a load of this guy, get a load of this guy. And I think it's good for Major League Baseball to continue to push these young players. I agree with you. I would have loved to have seen Corbin Carroll, who I also believe is from the Seattle area, if I'm remembering correctly as well, make his little home return and participate in the home run derby, of course, with the home run derby being out there in Seattle. That would have been fun. Francisco Lindor, just because he can't hit the ball worth anything right now. I'd like to see him get his swing going just a little bit, maybe. No, but on a real sense, Corbin Carroll, Ellie De La Cruz would have been fantastic. It's a shame that O'Neal Cruz is hurt too, because he would have been a fun player. I'm all in. Maybe MLB should just do like a 25 and under mandate. Only the young guys. Give the young guys the attention, because that's how we're going to push the game forward.
Yeah, or just have like two sides of the bracket. One is like the veterans, and the other is the
I like that.
Guys, and then you kind of meet in the championship. maybe the younger guys might have a bit of an advantage. They won't be as worn out, or maybe the older guys will be better at conserving their energy. That would be a fun way to kind of expand the home run derby.
To take it up another notch, and there would be some training involved in this, and I don't know what it would look like when it's all said and done. I like your idea of like veterans, but what if we took like retired sluggers, like guys that have kind of kept? Let me ask you this: would you rather see Mookie Betts at the home run derby or Big Papi?
Oh yeah, you got to get Big Papi out there. I mean, the celebrity tournament is always fun, and you got these old guys. I don't even remember, but there's been a few guys that in the softball tournament will just hit bombs. They get 60 years old and they're still hitting bombs.
Yeah,
get some of these old guys back, and we'll turn back the clock, and maybe if they have to put a shorter fence or whatever, but I still confident in a lot of these retired players that could still hit some bombs.
Papi, Barry Bonds, who I know is in a weird situation. You're telling me if you give Jason Giambi a month's worth of notice, he can't get ready for a home run derby? You're telling me Jim Thome with a month's worth of notice can't get ready for a home run derby?
Yeah.
All you got to do is crank. Like it's not like
Adam
A-Rod. Insert name here. Albert Pujols. You're telling me Albert Pujols 1 year removed from retirement or a half a season removed from retirement?
Wasn't he in it last year?
I think he was. Josh Hamilton. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some name. Like, hitting a home run is not easy, but if it's for the novelty and if it's to like get people engaged, like these guys have been doing it their whole life. Like, I feel like if you give them 3 months notice to get in shape, it's up to them whether or not they want to. I feel like that'd be kind of fun.
And let them use a metal bat too. I've been just getting off the College World Series. Get a metal bat in these guys' hands and let them hit 550-foot dingers.
You'd probably have to put like a health warning on the back of the ticket.
Yeah, everyone's got to wear a hard hat in the outfield.
Yeah, those baseballs would be coming off of the bat at like a million miles an hour. But all right, so those are some fun names. Of the names that we have so far, I'll come out and say Pete Alonso's going to win it, bro. I mean, that's my guy. Like he's the heart and soul of the New York Mets right now. The team is an atrocity. Uncle Steve hosting press conferences in the middle of the year. I know I'm biased, but as soon as these odds get posted on Superbook Sports, if I could use my promo code APBets, I would and put it on this. Give me Pete Alonso to win the home run derby. And I know we don't have the full field yet, but give me a name that you would lean towards. Who do you like in this derby of the names that we got?
Yeah, I think I already said it with Luis Robert. That's the guy. He's got the pop. I mean, I'm assuming that Pete Alonso is going to be up there near the favorites, and Luis Robert, I think, is going to be one of the longer shots. I don't know that, but that's just, off the top of my head where I think it's going to end up. So that's probably someone early on that I'm going to look at. We'll see who they add, though, because I think they're adding some tonight. So we'll take a closer look once those odds come out, and we'll be sure to post them on Superbook.
Yeah, get those bets in with Superbook Sports, all that good stuff. AP Bets promo code when you sign up. I love the home run derby, man. It's just like I miss when Chris Berman did it. Back. Like it's just like there's some novelty to that. But I'm always excited.
One of those kids in the outfield catching the balls. I would be making diving catches, maybe rob a home run. Or at least
that was a dream, bro. Or like a bat boy in the game or whatever. I love those festivities, man. And, we'll see Seattle, interesting park up there in the Pacific Northwest. But we got a good field so far. So be sure to check it out at Superbook Sports on social media once the full field is released. And away we go. We got a handful of good young players that are going to be representing in the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby this go around. All right, let's move along to the Octagon, where we've got ourselves a nice little pay-per-view. UFC 290 coming up, headlined by Mr. Alexander Volkanovski. He's the overwhelming favorite against Yair Rodriguez at Volkanovski minus 400. Rodriguez at 3-1 as the underdog. We got a good co-main event with Brandon Moreno back in action as they're moving forward after the clashes consistently with Figueiredo. And I think you posted it on social over there, Unit. Do we have the largest favorite in UFC history on this card?
Yeah, Bo Nickel right now. I think he's sitting at minus 2,500. So he's a massive favorite.
Sheesh.
I don't know if it's worth putting anything on him at those odds. You might have to look at the other direction. I mean, before, he was originally matched up with Trishan Gore. So that's a guy I really like. He's real powerful and strong. So I was thinking of, putting a little sprinkle on Gore. He ends up pulling out in the fight. And now it's even a bigger, difference in the odds. You could bet, looking on Superbook right now, Woodburn is at 12-1 and Bo Nickel is moved to minus 3,000. So
minus 3,000. So
yeah,
let me get this straight. If I was I'm in Colorado. So if I'm in Colorado and I wanted to make money, or if I'm in Las Vegas and I want to make money, or any of these other states, I would have to bet $3,000 on Bo Nickel just to make $100. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're right. And speaking of that, before Bo Nickel was even officially in the UFC, I remember we had a bet. I got it down here in the Dana White's Contender Series. His first fight, he was minus 4,000. We had a customer in Nevada place $35,000 on him to win $875. I'm pretty sure Bo Nickel won in like the first minute. So I guess it was just an easy $875. I don't have that much money to place on a bet, but I don't think I would be that ballsy, even on a favorite, just to win $875 on $35,000 bet.
Where do people get this much money, man? I could not imagine. Look, was it a win? Sure. Was it a sweat? No. I could never wager that much money to win so little and feel comfortable at any point in time on that. But you mentioned it. He's a minus 3,000 to win this fight here at UFC 290. And I think you and I subscribe to the same philosophy in this sense. Not that we think Bo Nickel's going to lose necessarily. I don't want to speak for you. Speak for yourself. I don't think Bo Nickel's losing. But the juice is certainly not worth the squeeze at minus 3,000. And I'm not saying hammer would burn at 12-1 odds, but I subscribe to the belief that in a combat sport where one punch can change anything, or one maneuver on the ground can put you into trouble, whatever it might be, you're talking about blink of an eye, things can change on a dime. Yeah. Nobody should be minus 3,000 in any fight, in my opinion, nor would I even include it. And here's what I'll say. PSA. Don't put Bo Nickel in your parlays this weekend, folks. This is a definition of a parlay buster. Look, is he going to lose? Probably not. But like some people think, minus 3,000. Easy. No way he's busting my parlay. All I'm saying is I would never take a chance on a fighter. Minus 2,500, minus 3,000, minus 1,000, whatever it is. In a sport, I lost money on Amanda Nunes one time. It was the John Jones card. I put her in my parlay, and she was like minus 1,200, and I lost on that. In a sport where one punch makes
Valentina, I think,
or Valentina Shevchenko, correct. Both of them lost. I never thought I'd see in my lifetime Amanda Nunes or Valerina Shevchenko lose in my lifetime. It happened. So minus 2,500, minus 3,000, whatever it might be, just steer clear. Just steer clear. And if anything, put a little pizza money on the dog. Maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah, it's a fight. I mean, it's 1v1 in an octagon. These guys are professional athletes. It just takes one shot in the right spot and everything's over. You know, I mean, Bo Nickel is maybe one of the best, or he is one of the best wrestlers in the entire world, but all it takes is one shot, put you out in the right spot, and there's nothing you could do about it. It's the human body. It could shut down just from any shot. So for anyone to be this big of a favorite, I think is pretty crazy, and maybe a little bit of pizza money on the dog.
Yeah, I like it, man. And I actually think the last time Bo Nickel fought was that John Jones card, because I remember watching it at a restaurant with my buddy, and like I told him, I was like, there's this massive underdog, and I'm taking him because the favorite is like overwhelming. Like, this is it. Like, this is how we get rich, boys.
And that was kind of an interesting fight, seeing Bo Nickel throw a kick, I think, early on.
Yeah,
he just fell right down.
Yeah.
So maybe he does have some holes in his game outside of wrestling. We haven't seen a whole lot of him because, he hasn't been fighting for very long. He had those fights in Dana White's Contender Series, but they didn't last very long because he submitted his competition pretty quickly. So haven't seen a whole lot of him. So maybe there is some things that people don't know about.
And I mean, to bring it back to kind of the main event here, to put it in perspective, like Alexander Volkanovski at his proper weight class is one of the best fighters that we've seen in recent memory. And he's only minus 400. Like, you're talking about, and look, I got a lot of respect for Yair Rodriguez. I think he's a solid fighter, but like, what is that? That's like 6-7 times the greater favorite that Bo Nickel is in his fight at minus 3,000 compared to Alexander Volkanovski, who's been to the highest of highs in the fight game at minus 400.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absurd. I do think that Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez fight is pretty intriguing, though. They're both electric fighters. I mean, Volkanovski is probably, either the pound for pound best fighter in the world, or if he's not, he's probably second. Yeah,
I mean, we saw him try to make the moves to the weight classes, and no harm, no foul. It is what it is.
He might have won that fight as well.
He may have, according to our good friend, Mr. Unit over there. But I like Alexander Volkanovski to fight this weekend. Like I said, I like Rodriguez as a fighter. I just think, like you had mentioned, Volkanovski pound for pound, one of the best there ever is out there. What about my guy Brandon Moreno? I've always had a soft spot for Brandon Moreno, and he's back in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite fighters as well. I just love his spirit and the way he is in the octagon. He's tough as nails. He's got a great chin. And this is an interesting fight for him because he's 0-2 against Pantoja. And both of the fights that he's lost have kind of, crushed his career. He's obviously fought back, and we saw he's won the belt back. And his first loss was in the Ultimate Fighter, which got him out of that competition. And then the second fight was what ultimately got him cut from the UFC. And then he obviously came back and had that crazy story. So this is going to be a really fun fight, and it's nice to see him actually have a different opponent for once too.
Yeah, I was a little okay, whatever. Also, I gotta give a shout out to the local circuit out here in Colorado, and we'll see how it kind of keeps trending here. When is my guy Brandon Royval getting a shot at the belt? Brandon Royval has been one of the best fighters in the division, and Dana and company over and over, always overlooking it. You could have a Brandon versus Brandon card if you wanted to for the belt with Royval and Brandon Moreno. Royval, I believe he's from Englewood, Colorado out here, but he's been in the station a bunch of times, all that kind of stuff. But anytime I see the lighter guys fighting, I got to show some love to my guy, Brandon Royval.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality fighters out of Colorado. It's a great place. Produces a lot of great fighters. I mean, I think that Royval is even a guy that Dana White has even kind of apologized for overlooking in the past. I think I remember seeing that online.
Fighting in that division is like the equivalent of playing running back in the NFL, where it's just like, yeah, you do it, but like you're not looked at the same as the heavyweight or the middleweight or the other weight classes, whatever it might be. So I don't know. I'm excited for this card though, man. Anytime Volkanovski's fighting, Brandon Moreno's fighting, I got my popcorn ready, brother.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch it. I already got plans unfortunately, my first international fight week miss in 3 years now. I have to go to Indy for a wedding. So I already got plans to get to a spot and watch it, but unfortunately I won't be in attendance for this one. But I am pumped for this card.
Better for a summertime UFC miss for a wedding than a Saturday in college football or a Sunday in the NFL season. So
yeah, you're right. Don't plan your wedding during college football.
Don't do it. If my future wife, ex-wife is out there listening, we ain't getting married on a Saturday or Sunday during football season. I can tell you that. Take a look at venues in June and July because that's how we're going. But all right, let's move along to the NFL where you've got yourself maybe the worst take that I've ever heard on your digital platform. And you're going to have to repeat it. Why don't you tell the people what your take is?
It seems like I'm alone in this, or I'm the minority on this take, but I do not. I'm anti Red Zone channel. I just can't stand it. Anytime I never use it, but if I'm with friends at their house and they've got it on, I'm just not a Red Zone fan. I think it's fantasy football and things like Red Zone. I think have kind of ruined football to a point where people now they judge a player about how good they are by these imaginary points they get. Come on. Get tough, bet on the game. Who cares about fantasy football? Also, Red Zone, if I wanted someone to change the channel for me, I would give some random guy the remote. I want to be able to decide what I'm watching, when I want to watch it. I don't want the screen to flip right when I'm getting interested in the game or I'm paying attention. I want to be in control of that. Ultimately, the best setup is a multi-screen setup to where you're watching every game already. But Red Zone doesn't do it for me. I don't want to hear a guy talking over all these games, taking me over all these games, certain ones I don't care about. If I got action on the game or if it's my team, I got to be watching those games. You got to get it by any means necessary, get multiple screens. Red Zone, I'm out.
You sound like my dad. Anytime I try to watch games with my dad and it's on the, what is this? Get this off. I want to watch the game. I don't want to go back and forth. You're tripping, brother. And I love you. You're my guy. I respect you a lot. How could you work in this industry and not be in love with Red Zone? And I'll kind of make my point in a couple different cases. One, you brought up the multi-TV setup. Absolutely. I agree with you. You have to have a multi-TV setup. But how do you not at least have one TV on the Red Zone and the other TVs on the games that you're interested in or you're betting in or whatever it might be? Red Zone, I don't want to watch punts. How many Steelers-Bengals games have you watched that are 12, or 17-10, the most boring snooze fest football games of all time? And you know what I love about Red Zone? When I'm betting an under and I never see the game. That is the greatest thing of all time. Okay, under 43.5, under 44.5, whatever it might be. Never see the game. All right, halftime, 3-0, boom, ready to go. That's what Red Zone does for me as a better. Now, when the Cowboys are on, I'm watching the Cowboys. When the Broncos are on, I got to watch the Broncos work. So I do understand the focus. But in a general, across-the-board NFL setting, how is Red Zone not a part of your repertoire? To me, it's a non-negotiable. It's essential, brother.
No. Because, I mean, if you have all the screens on already, you don't need the red zone because you're going to be seeing the stuff at different times. So you're either going to see the same play twice if there's a touchdown or whatever. But also, it sounds like you don't like football very much. If you don't embrace punts, 1 yard runs, incomplete passes, it sounds like you're not a football guy. I love a good punt every once in a while. I'm a Bears fan. I love punts.
Because here's the other thing, though. When I watch one game, let me also say this. I've never been to an NFL game, and I have this much interest, zero interest in going to an NFL game in my life. You know why? Because unless that NFL game's on a Thursday night or a Monday night, I'm missing everything else. And that's the thing is I can have, like, the morning slate usually has what? 2, 3, sometimes 4, like, really good games. There's usually 1 or 2 games that you're like, all right, I got to watch. And then everything else, like the Carolina versus Tampa, the Washington versus Philly game. Like, I ain't sitting down and watching that unit. Like, I mean, you can if you want to. And I like the bet as much as you do, but like that, just give me the little bite-sized pieces. Let me see Ron Rivera getting fired up on the sideline. Let me see Taylor Heineke doing his dance, whatever it might be. But let me also say this. It's not just a red zone house. It's the red zone with the combination of the big games that you're watching at all times. I use red zone as an accent to my NFL viewing experience. But to wipe it out completely and say that red zone is unimportant or not a favorite of yours, I knew you were an old soul, but you might be a lot older than I thought, brother.
Well, you know what I substituted with is Twitter. You get everything on Twitter. You see it just as fast as red zone. So I've got Twitter open at all times. All the games that are either on or all the games I care about got action on. And then, of course, if the Bears are on, that's all my eyes are glued to. But Twitter does it for me. I don't need some guy on my TV showing me a play 2 minutes after it happened.
That's fair. Okay, I will agree with you on that. I do think like the rehashing of the plays all the time is where I get a little annoyed. But I will say, like, when like they're showing you one game and it's like, let's go on out to Dallas where something big happened, and then it speeds you right up to like the next play. I love that, especially. And look, maybe you're not gonna like me. I like to play fantasy football, but like especially it's like the anticipation of like the bomb pass and like you're like waiting to figure out. I don't know. To me, it's just become part of my NFL viewing experience. And like I said, I respect you a lot. This may be the worst take you've ever had because I just think that red zone has significantly increased the NFL product. Are there drawbacks? Sure. But I think the benefits outweigh the consequences, in my opinion.
Agree to disagree. I think the true football guys are anti-red zone. I'll stand
enough. Fair enough. But I think all true Americans love the hot dog eating contest, though. And we saw that yesterday for a brief moment in time. It looked like the hot dog eating contest was going to get canceled. And let me say this. If you ever find yourself at Nathan's Hot Dogs in New York, really good crinkle cut fries. Really good crinkle cut fries. Love them. They have some in Las Vegas, too, across the casinos. Love the fries.
Airports all the time, too, I think.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But the Nathan's Hot Dog eating contest yesterday, the show must go on, as we said to start our show, and Joey Chestnut, wears his heart on his sleeve. And I saw like some reports out there that he basically like went in and like got the guys that were competing and were like, I don't know about you, but I'm still trying to do this thing because they canceled it. It wasn't a delay. It wasn't a pause. They canceled it according to social media. And then a few hours later, lo and behold, here we go. The hot dog eating contest is underway. Joey Chestnut, the men's champion once again. Few questions. Your take, is hot dog eating or food eating competitions in general, do you consider those sports? And is Joey Chestnut one of the greatest specimens of our lifetime?
To start, it's pretty crazy. He's a way bigger favorite than Bo Nickel is on Saturday. So that's
really
the story. I mean, I think he was like minus 5,000. Easy dub for him again. But yeah, you could tell he was clearly thrown off by the weather delay. I don't know if that changed, the conditions or whatever of the hot dogs. It's kind of funny the way people will talk about that. But under cashed easily, and he easily won once again. It's a great tradition. I think for as long as I can remember, I've been watching these eating contests from every 4th of July, whether it was back to Kobayashi or now the past few years of Chestnut winning every year. It is fun to say that he's the greatest athlete ever, but no, it's not a sport. He's eating food. It's fun to joke around, say that he's one of the greatest athletes ever. I guess he's got to prepare kind of like an athlete. But competitive eating, the only one that people even care about is the hot dog eating contest. So, I mean, that's just like, one game out of the entire season of a year is all people care about. It's like if all people cared about in football was the Super Bowl, and then they didn't watch any of the regular season games.
Eating is physical exertion. Eating requires rhythm. Like Chestnut's just not like, He's like, like back and forth. He's like in his little rhythm, like, like it is an art to an extent.
It is.
Competitive eating is absolutely a sport. It requires like that, whatever this is in your body, like the throat down to the stomach, like that ain't easy, bro. Like it's the equivalent of throwing a ball. Like, not everyone can throw the ball as far. Not everybody can eat as many hot dogs in a sheer amount of time. I'm saying it's a sport. It's hard to do. It requires physical exertion. There's competition. And here's the thing. I understand your once a year narrative. Canelo Alvarez fights once a year. Conor McGregor hasn't fought in like 3 years. He's still an athlete, no? I mean, we have plenty of examples.
Well, these guys still, I mean, in the competitive eating, they play all year round, but no one even knows about it.
So what? Is cricket not a sport because we don't watch it in the States? Or what is it? Jai Halai, I think it's what it's called. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of sports that I open up on these sports books, and I'm like, what? I could bet on this. I could bet on that. There's a lot of oddities out there, my friend. We don't sport shame.
Yeah, well, I haven't missed one, so I guess that says something. It's something. I don't know if it's a sport, but it's something, and I enjoy watching it.
I just know, I mean, this isn't the correct definition of a sport, but I know it's something that requires training. It requires physical exertion. There's competition that is around it, and it's something that not everybody could do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, which kind of bridges me to my next question. Like, how many hot dogs can you eat in a sitting? Because Chestnut's putting down double digits easily.
Do you mean a sitting, or are you talking about the
no competition? You are a couple Millers deep. You're chilling in the backyard. Got the grill on with your buddies. How many hot dogs, if they challenge you, how many hot dogs can you eat in one sitting? Not against the clock, until you stand up. One sitting, how many can you?
Okay, so actually, I've kind of done this before, but at my alma mater, at Ball State basketball games, one time a year, they would always have $1 hot dogs. And you know how it is being a broke college kid. You got to go all out. If you get an opportunity or a deal like this, you got to go off. So during just the entirety of a Ball State basketball game, I ended up beating some of my peers, and I went 12 hot dogs during the length of a basketball game. Didn't feel great after, but I was definitely full.
12
hot dogs, Ball State basketball game. And it only cost me $12.
And you're going to say that's not a sport?
Didn't feel like a sport to me.
Were you sweating? You had to have been sweating.
I had action on the game, so I was probably sweating too. So
you would have been. If I were you, I've been looking at the sky like, help me put these glizzies down. Like, I don't know, man. I was gonna say I think I could get 4 on a good day, and it's also just because I'm not a big But here's the thing: you saw me eat the chicken nuggets. That's different. To me, it's more about the dog. Of like, I just can't. It is a very specific palate, I guess you could say, and it's like I just get tired. Like I had a hot dog last night for dinner on the 4th of July. It was a hot link, actually, fantastic. Barbecue sauce and a little mustard on that thing. It was fantastic. I ate like one, and I was like, I'm good. Like I don't think I could have eaten another one. So I think if I had to put myself to it, 4 is my number. So you're like 4 times.
Wow. Yeah. I think even when I'm at a barbecue, just eating, to eat, I'll have like 5 hot dogs just as my meal.
That's me with burgers. Burgers, on the other hand, I'll put those boys down.
4 is your max? Like just one sitting, all you could do.
I think I'd yak.
Or are you going to stop once you're full? Because, I mean, you can push yourself.
That's the thing is I think with the hot dog in particular, the combination of the palate required mixed with the mental fortitude to push through would just result in a trip to the bathroom. Like I just don't like, whereas, burger, it's like the beef, I could eat a ton of macaroni with red sauce, whatever it might be. Like tacos. I can eat a lot of tacos, but it's something about the hot dog in and of itself. And I know, you're from the Midwest, so that's your thing. Chicago area, you guys love your sausages, but not my cup of tea. So if you want me to do a Superbook eating contest, make sure it's not Glizzy's.
Yeah, maybe we should go head to head in that though. I could win some. I also don't put anything on my hot dogs. I put a little celery salt. That's as far as I go into the Chicago style, but that's all I put
mustard?
on. No, just celery salt, and then maybe that helps me eat more than normal.
Tripping. I mean, I respect it. I mean, to each their own. Like you just said, agree to disagree about Red Zone. Agree to disagree about the hot dog. It's just
fair enough. I think we've disagreed on almost every topic today.
I know. I actually think we have. Oh no, we're kind of in agreement on Bo Nickel. I think we're in agreement there. Home run derby is a little, what are you up for? I think we both agree that Dame
mixing up this week.
Mix a little bit of this, a little bit of that, But I think you're crazy for your red zone take. And not that I think you're crazy for your hot dog. I just think salute, brother. Like, congratulations if you're able to do that, man. Like, that's impressive. Like, I ain't taking nothing away from you.
There's got to be somebody out there who agrees with me on the red zone take, and probably the same thing with the hot dog. So whoever that is, come find me. We could be friends.
At Superbook Unit on social media. Be sure to check them out. I'm at Media by AP. And away we go. Another fun show in the books here on the Superbook Sports social channels, the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. I'm AP in Colorado. My friend, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to get off the chest before we get out of here?
Yeah. Have you seen this new spear in Vegas? The new amphitheater? It's got like
yes.
It's just this big spear. It's insane. I've seen them build it ever since I've lived here. So they've been working on it for like 3 years now. And then yesterday they kind of did a big debut for like a fireworks show, and they just lit it up with all the coolest designs. It was like an eyeball. It was a basketball. It was a globe. When I first saw it, I thought it was fake. I didn't realize the screen was like that good of quality. I didn't think the thing was going to be that cool, and it just blew away my expectations. I think it might be the coolest piece of architecture in the United States, maybe the world. Thing's sick.
Yeah, of architecture, things that have been built in recent history, I don't think I could think of anything.
Maybe
at least
the pyramid Bass Pro.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick.
That thing is a marvel. Where is that? Yeah. Memphis, I think it is. Yeah. I've watched so many YouTube videos on that stupid thing. There's a hotel in it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That thing is structural engineer at its finest. I don't know. Sphere's got a long way, brother.
Those are the two wonders of the world now. Those for U.S.
I agree. The MGM Sphere, the MSG Sphere, and the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. Hey, I know Bobby said it's the last tour, but maybe they got to make a little residency over there at the Sphere.
That would be sweet.
They got to christen it the right way. But all right, good stuff. Use my promo code APBETS when you sign up with Superbook Sports. They'll give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up, deposit, and place a wager today using my promo code APBETS. Remember, if you live in Colorado or Nevada where Unit's at, you can bet with Superbook Sports, along with a handful of other states, including Arizona, Iowa, Tennessee, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland, and more. That's going to do it for us on another installment of the Fast Five. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hope you guys had a good 4th of July. My man, enjoy the wedding. We'll talk to you guys next week.